Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. We're here with the Tesla Model S. This is the car they said would never be produced. There are a lot of naysayers, a lot of negative people out there, but here it is. And let's meet the chief designer for Tesla, Franz von Holzhausen. There you go. I keep tripping over your name. Good to see you, my friend. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You know, it's interesting. It's an electric car that doesn't look like an electric car, which I think works to a tremendous advantage.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
You don't want to scare people away when they park.
No, it's a good-looking car as well. Tell us about this car. We all know about the Tesla Roadster, and that was sort of loosely based on the Lotus, whereas this is ground up, brand new, bespoke everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, the Roadster was great. It proved that the technology worked. It proved you could have performance and range all in the same breath. And then we took all those great attributes and turned them into a sedan that was, you know, for more people. This car can seat 5 adults, has a jump seat for 2 kids in the rear. You can get 7 people in this thing, still have luggage in the front. It's incredibly innovative, but it feels just comfortable.
And the range is what, 300 miles?
Yeah, with 3 battery packs, and you know the biggest one is 85 kilowatt hour. It gets you 300-mile range, 265 EPA.
Now there's a number of different ways people deal with the battery situation. The Volt uses a sort of T-type arrangement, big lithium ion, but this has essentially like 7,000 small, is that what it is?
Yeah, they're 18650 standard form factor cells, same ones that you would get in your laptop computer.
Okay.
And we arrange them in an array, which is like a skateboard basically. It's a flat pack beneath the floor of the car, in between the wheels.
So you have a low center of gravity.
Absolutely, it's one of the lowest center of gravities in the marketplace.
Now, in testing this car, what is the general consensus? Do the batteries eventually fade as a whole pack, or do some fade ahead of others? How does that work?
Well, we've designed the pack to withstand basically climate issues, charging. We have the chargers are on board, so you just need a connector to charge it. And it's liquid cooled, so we control the batteries. And so their lifespan can be extended because of that control. And we look after them. We will see some degradation over time, but really minimal.
Because batteries like to be, what, 74 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, something like that.
And even in the wintertime, you're heating the battery as well as cooling
Yeah,
the
we
battery,
heat them, we cool them. You know, we just introduced supercharging. It's really awesome because it allows you now to take the trip that you really couldn't take in an electric car. We've put stations up between here and San Francisco, between San Francisco and Tahoe, between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. So now it's about 150 miles in between each trip. And like I said, in 30 minutes, you can plug in and get 150 miles.
So it's a bit like the old days in the 60s when you bought a Mercedes diesel. They gave you a little booklet. It showed you where diesel stations were in various states or on various routes. And that's basically the same thing?
Yeah, and we'll actually put those locations on the map in this big screen that we have in the interior, so you're never really lost.
Well, let's look at the car itself. It's got, what, 21-inch wheels on it?
21-inch wheels. You know, the car is designed to be like a tuned athlete. That was kind of the inspiration behind the car, that it felt lightweight and nimble. It's a fairly heavy car at 4,600 pounds.
And what is the coefficient of drag on this?
It's 0.24, which is amazing.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
And we designed it so that it didn't look like it was designed in a wind tunnel. You know, that was the whole concept. So it's attractive but efficient. The front, we needed to create a really distinctive face for the car and something that could be recognizable as the brand grew. The grille is really about a place to carry the badge and kind of give it some presence. And create a distinctive face to the car, you know.
Well, let's take a look. Let's go all the way around the car. I love the, this is the charging port here. It's got a button on it. You press it, there you go. And then you just plug it right in there, and that's your charge.
Now we're charging. When it turns green, it means you're charging.
So now we're charging at 110.
Right.
How about for 240?
For 240, the charger is on board. And it will recognize whatever power you're putting into it.
I see.
So this is just, you know, it's a connector. It's like an extension cord with a nice handle. And you can, wherever you can find an outlet, 240, 110, our supercharger plugs in.
Okay. Now this has a little different size. Just pull it out?
Yeah.
So I have a 240 at my house. For all electric cars seem to have a standard plug, but this is a different plug, correct?
Yeah, we wanted to make the experience a little bit more pleasant, and also really the car is tuned, you know, because the chargers are on board. that you don't get this clunky interface system. or
Right. I
anything
mean,
like
do you have a
that.
240 adapter?
We do have an
Oh, I
adapter.
see.
Yeah,
So
I would
no-
go at the back end though.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see how that works. All right. Very cool. Now, this is something kind of cool. Those of us that grew up in the 60s and sat in the back of Country Squire wagons, or even the Chrysler had it too. You had the rear-facing
For me, it was
seat.
a Ford LTD wagon.
Ford
but-
LTD wagon. That's kind of cool.
This is, it really demonstrates the efficiency of the vehicle. Where
Yeah.
there's 31 cubic feet of storage space in this
Right.
car, and it seats 5 adults plus 2 kids in the rear, and luggage in the front of the car.
Right.
So there's very few cars that can get away with that look like this.
Let's go over the interior of the car. You hop on that side. I'll get on this side
Sure.
here. So I would plug my iPhone or my pen
Yeah,
drive
so
radio in where?
USB connected to the car. We have little USB connectors here
Oh, I see.
as well.
Yeah.
We have Bluetooth connection for the car. We have a radio interface, a Navi
Right.
interface. You can actually see the navigation screen full size,
Right.
which is great. It's pinch and two
Wow,
finger
yeah,
touch,
yeah.
so you can zoom in and out there. Yeah, so the controls really gets you into what you can do. Here's where you open the frunk or the trunk.
What did you call it? The front?
The frunk. Yeah, the front trunk.
The
We call it the frunk. So here you see one of the world's biggest sunroofs,
Yeah,
which is
I
pretty
see.
cool.
And you can open
And-
it all the way.
Yeah,
Is
you can
that-
open it all the way. So we have a comfort stop, so there's no buffeting, but here
right.
you get, it's a
Right,
pretty
right.
inviting space.
Tell me about the air suspension. Is it like a Citroën, half pneumatic and air? Is it fully
It's
air?
all air.
Okay.
It's a closed loop air system, and the car actually controls its ride height at speed. So when we get on the freeway, we lower the car,
Right.
increases the aero efficiency. So that's how we also generate more range.
Now, does it? Can you? You're pulling into a gas station or something, or it lifts the front end up. I see.
So you can lift the whole car up, and you can kind of see it move
see.
up, and you can feel it.
So there's
up
an
and down.
onboard compressor, obviously.
When you put it in reverse, but you can actually
Right. I see.
turn that on at any moment. What's really a unique feature about this car is that we don't have a tunnel, because the battery pack
Right.
is flat on the floor.
Right.
So in the center console, we created this space that was really kind of a space for you to put your stuff and do
Right.
what you want with it.
And what is the life of the battery? 8 years? 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
Let's take it for a ride. It's interesting. Almost every electric car that has been brought to the garage by major manufacturers has usually been trucked to the garage on a flatbed, and then we drive it around because most of them don't have the power to get to the garage from where they are. So that's usually the way we've done it. You start with a home base with a full charge and go with the charges. I'm reading a 254-mile range. That's way more than I will drive today. I know with my Chevy Volt, I'm coming down Coldwater Canyon. I take my foot off the gas. By the time I reach the bottom, I will have another mile or maybe 2 miles of range.
Yep.
Same thing with
Same
this?
thing here, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had people driving from LA to Vegas on a single charge,
Right? Yeah,
which
it's pretty good.
seemed impossible to do
Yeah.
in the past. And now with our supercharger station out at Barstow, you can plug in there, use a restroom, have plenty of range once you arrive into the
Does
city.
supercharging not burn up your batteries, but
No, it
decrease
doesn't.
your battery? Okay.
Because we've designed the battery pack to be able to charge or
Right.
accept a charge in any condition.
This is unbelievable. You can adjust everything here: suspension, standard, low, high, comfort. Now, low would be what, most comfortable, cushy? Is that what
Actually,
means?
low drops the car
Oh, drops
at
the
freeway
car.
speed for more
Okay.
efficiency.
I see.
High gets you over the awkward curb in
I
the driveway
see.
or whatever.
Oh, it doesn't tighten the suspension.
No.
I
It's
see.
just right
I
height.
got you. You have traction control, regenerative braking. A lot of people are turned off by electric cars because they're internal combustion guys. But you know something? The more people have electric cars, it's more gas for us to use your Hemi Cuda on the weekend, whatever you want to do. I mean, I use my Chevy Volt during the week, and I use no electricity, and then I use gasoline vehicles on the weekend for recreation. The most amazing thing about electric cars is you have almost zero maintenance. Even my 1909 Baker Electric, I've had it almost 20 years, and it requires no maintenance at all, other than charging the battery. It's a hand-wound motor, all copper wires, and it doesn't need anything. It's pretty amazing, and this is obviously, that would be the great-great-great-grandfather of this car. The amazing thing is the absence of noise. There's no engine noise, there's no wind noise, and when you have a vehicle like this that doesn't have any engine noise or sport muffler, you've got to make everything in the cabin even more quiet because that'll just accentuate the squeak that might be in the dashboard or something, but you don't have any of that here. And look how fast it is. It goes 0 to 60 around 4 seconds. Motor Trend got like 3.9, and I think the factory says 4.4, so we'll split the difference at 4 seconds. You know, the quality is pretty amazing in this car. I mean, nothing rattles, nothing shakes, and being electric, there's no noise at all. You know, you don't buy the optional sport exhaust. If the guy tries to sell you the sport exhaust, don't do it, because there isn't one. But let's take it up on the freeway, see how she cruises. You know, electric cars are fun because you get into that thing of how little fuel can I actually use. Now you notice I'm slowing down now. See, now I'm putting electricity in, and the regen works so well I actually have to give a little more gas to make it up to the light. But the only time I ever touch the brakes on this car is when I want to just come to a complete stop. We'll show you how this thing accelerates. Well, we'll just blow right past him. Look at this. Look at this. The thing just pulls. Kind of interesting satellite nav here. You're actually getting a satellite picture of where we're going. Even at 65 miles an hour, when I take my foot off the gas, I'm now putting electricity back in. Now what we're going to do in a minute here is, as soon as I get over the crest of this hill, I'll take my foot off the gas and coast and see if we can put a mile back in. There's one of those old-fashioned Priuses just went by. Well, it's interesting. I know I have gone 4 miles, but I'm still at 225, because although the regen hasn't given me any more miles, it hasn't taken any away.
Right.
So actually, we were generating. Range is not really an issue in this car. The problem of the electric car has been solved. You know, if you've ever met any of the Tesla employees, there's a real enthusiasm with the company. You know, it's a new company, it's a young company, and I hope they succeed, and I think they will. I think this car will be a huge success. It's very mainstream in drivability. It's not a shock to anybody in terms of, oh, that's too outlandish looking for me. It's a really good-looking car. It's a nicely styled car. And it's made right here in America. You know, some of these other cars are made in other countries and shipped over here. This is made in Fremont, California, by Americans. Pretty cool. And the car, I guess we didn't mention this, the car is rear-wheel drive, which means, will it do a burnout? Electric car, burnout? Seems a little immature. Let's try it and see. I think it's safe to say the future of the burnout is safe. No matter what happens with electric cars, the burnout will always be there. As you can see, you've got plenty of torque. Franz, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
And this is pretty cool. See you next week.